All right. How are you? How's Barcelona?
Are we on?
Yeah, are we on? We're on, right?
We're on.
Good on, everybody.
Yeah. Buenos noches.
That's the camera. The white one. That's the camera.
Oh, that's.
We have to
okay.
do something
Which
different.
white one?
Okay, the white. But you're right, for the photography here, let's do a cheers. Cheers. For... And apparently we were celebrating IoT's funeral. Really? Yeah. Right. Well, and somebody told me that. Oh, Mr. Groot.
Oh.
Yeah. From Ignion. He said this well, he said it could be digital transformation.
Which I think is just kind of sums up everything that's happening.
Yeah, which is great. Super broad.
Yeah.
It could be. We'll go with it.
I saw we track intent data for marketing purposes.
So you say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Digital transformation is a very popular term.
Yeah.
Is it?
So is data management.
Data management.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like,
so
Do you guys have a
throwback.
database?
Yeah. I'm like,
But maybe they have.
but like, what do we do with this? I'm like, we don't do anything with this. I mean,
Wow.
what do you want me to say? We go after every company and be like,
Yeah.
let us help you with your data management.
That's right.
Can you give me your DBA and we'll talk
Yeah.
to them.
Are they still saying that data is the new oil? Is that
No.
dead?
I don't know if that's dead or not.
Okay.
I actually like the
Yeah, funeral was last year about this.
About data being the new oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea though, right?
Yeah.
Like, that the value.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to extract, right? Like,
Whoa! Are you in marketing?
yeah.
What? And
So I like the idea.
I like it too.
Yeah.
And I like how I've also heard someone go, "Oh, but it's just like raw crude oil. You need to refine it."
You got to refine it.
Yeah.
That's
And
where
you get-
Losant comes in, right?
Yeah, we help refine it, and you
Oh my
get
God.
you get refined oil off of it, and then you get coke, which is the byproduct, which
Yes.
is your data that you don't really want,
Right.
You know, and it's not
Crap.
that useful for most things,
Right.
except burning. But
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, it works. It works
It
pretty
works
well.
for me.
Yeah.
That works for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard it in like a big public sense in a while.
Okay, so we're refining. Good.
Yes.
How's the show for you so far?
Oh,
Day
God.
one, I saw you over
Overwhelming,
at the
man.
Amdocs booth.
Yes.
Doing
Just-
some-
Why don't you just tell everybody?
Is that bad?
No, it's good. No, I mean, they have some really cool stuff going on, and I think, first off, hey, everybody, how's it going?
Welcome to IoT Coffee Talk.
IoT Coffee Talk in Barcelona.
We are live
Yeah.
with the IoT giant who started
Yeah.
this whole thing many years
Yes.
ago in the basement auditorium of the Akbar Tower, which is now has a different name. Glorious?
Glorious Towers.
Yeah.
Glorious Towers.
Facebook is there now, and this is the headquarters of Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
They'd like to go by Meta now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't
Oh, yeah,
quite
sorry.
know that they're.
But they might have to go
But they
back
might
to
have to go back to Facebook.
now that the metaverse is dead.
Yeah. They're like, well,
Yeah.
So the funeral
about
of the
that whole
metaverse
meta
already
thing.
happened, or-
Can we get
the
that
funeral of the
FB
metaverse
stock
happened?
Yeah.
ticker back?
Yeah.
I think it basically.
I mean, like,
Isn't that funny how
it's hilarious.
has that like the shortest lifespan of a new fad metaverse?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
when we were all here last year, we were horrified because you're right. Zuck was out there in January of last year talking about we were all in with the metaverse, and I'm spending $10 billion of extra money that I have in my pocket a year on the metaverse.
No, everyone jumped
And then
on
we
that,
came to the event. There was about 50,000 people, but we were here last year,
Yeah.
and Accenture and all these companies
Everybody.
already had
Oh, my
metaverse
God.
everywhere. We're going to help you with your
Everywhere.
metaverse transformation.
Well, you know, they've already pivoted. Now you see a lot of brands going out talking about Web3.
Yeah,
So,
and
you
again,
know,
like,
it's okay, how many
like
times
I
are
don't
we
get
gonna
where
pivot?
like most companies are fitting in the Web3 part of it.
I don't
Yeah.
either. I mean,
They just say it. The
Yeah.
you know, that's actually the really like sort of far-fetched part of the metaverse. You know,
Right.
it's the stuff that, you know, has, you know, we talk about IoT Coffee Talk all the time. It's the stuff that is problematic, right? And, you know, the reason why a lot of these blockchain applications don't work. And you know, I have to be careful because usually on IoT Coffee Talk, he's just a little thumbnail. And if I piss him off, he can't do anything. But now he's sitting right next to me, so I just scooch over.
But no. One thing,
trivia.
one paper that inspires me. It's this paper of the computer of the 21st century from Marc. Did you read it?
No.
So what he was explaining is that in the future, in the 21st century, so you will be able to interact with physical devices or physical things with your around you, and that will create digital actions. No, and the other way around. So you will do digital actions that will affect your physical.
So
around you.
Okay.
That's kind of cool. On the fly?
No, but actually, then as well, putting the Web3 or some this helium that you hate, concept of.
Don't tell anyone that because someone's out there.
Steve Brummer might be watching this and he's making a living off of selling helium gateways.
I know. I found this out recently. I kind of love the idea of selling the hardware, but
imagine a device that by itself it's making money, and providing a service.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something interesting, and it's creating like a bidirectional payment and so on.
Sounds cyber
I think it's something interesting to explore. I don't say that this is like the right execution or not.
Okay.
That's another story.
Do you have a DAO?
No, I have that DAO. Just
Well, okay, so we won't talk about this too much longer, but there's this whole idea of allowing thingies to be kind of autonomous and self-aware and self-governing and self-economizing, if that's even a word. But the thing is that conceptually that's great. A lot of these things are really difficult to implement, and so I spoke to a friend actually when I landed and had dinner on Saturday. He's into all this stuff, and in fact he basically created an NFT for a mint plant, which is really cool idea, I guess.
Is that like a JPEG?
Basically put sensors on it, and then the plant is creating art.
It's worth a lot of money.
Right? And basically this whole idea of empowering things is like great, but outside of being, let's say, a localized, I don't know if you want to call it a parlor trick or whatever, it's very difficult to scale its relevance out beyond just that, And so, anyways, let's not talk about crypto anymore. Come on.
Web3. But you put the Web3 topic because you saw a lot of Web3 things on the Mobile World Congress?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
No. It's a pivot because there's a lot less metaverse, but then there's a pivot happening. So that people don't want to get caught talking about metaverse, so now they're talking about Web3.
But they think they're also, whether or not
I have no idea.
they also think they're secretly talking about the metaverse.
Yeah.
They just don't want to get canceled.
Right.
Okay.
They're like, I'm talking about the metaverse, so I'll just say things around it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get pre-canceled here by saying, all right, boys and girls, let me just tell you the real story about Web3. I think I've told you the story before, maybe a year ago. The Web3 idea actually has been around for almost 5 years. Actually, it's been around since 2014, but you just never heard of it until last year. So Web3 was started, the whole concept, 100%, from, I won't say his name, but he's the co-founder of Ethereum. And he came up with the whole idea of Web3 distributed, and the original thinking had to do with, well, right now, there's these black holes of data being sucked into, like, Facebook and all the big websites, and they store, when you have to log in someplace, basically, all these websites, you're storing passwords and they own all that stuff, and Web3 is going to power to the people, distributed, and I'm going to need you to put all those credentials in the Ethereum blockchain. And conveniently in my Ethereum thing, and that's how we're going to break the chains.
But it's decentralized, Rob.
Yeah. Well, I thought the internet was decentralized by
to begin with.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, all right. So here, we got to make it clear to our audience. IoT. If you haven't ever watched IoT Coffee Talk, and you're going,
there's only a couple of people that be in that category.
But it actually originated from IoT Stars, right? Or the deprivation of IoT Stars, because we're all planning on getting together in 2020.
2020.
February. Yeah. And
I remember.
Was it you or? Anyways, one of us came up with this bright idea to start a show, and so like it or not, you might not like it.
You love it though.
Yes.
And Stephanie came up with our logo.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got that going for us.
Yeah. So this is a very special moment, actually.
This is a special moment.
Very, very
but
special
it was also just about hanging with people because it's there was the cancellation. Gosh,
COVID.
a lot of weird stuff happened because it
God.
was all because of COVID.
Yeah.
One by one, dominoes were falling on Mobile World Congress. Ericsson pulled out. All these people pulled out. Ironically, so my boss at the time and other people who I worked with, since they were no longer coming to Barcelona, but they still had the week off. Do you know what they did that week? Almost all of them went to northern Italy to go skiing. Guess what happened to all of them? They got COVID.
no.
And they came back to Sweden.
Actually,
You know what I
should
did
be
instead?
laughing about that.
I went to Ericsson's
Sorry.
office.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But that reminds me that this is the 3rd anniversary of IoT Coffee Talk today.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be it's a birthday.
Woo, it
Yeah,
is.
we've been
Yeah.
doing this
Where's
for
our
3
cake?
years. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers for that.
Yes.
3rd anniversary.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we love all of you, by the way.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
2 or 3 people who actually watched the
Exactly.
show. Wait, but it's like weird. I mean, Rob and I were talking. I mean, actually, today I bumped into like 5 or 6 people who just picked me out of the crowd and goes, "Dude, I know you." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, IoT Coffee.
You're a
like
star.
the IoT guy.
You're an
I was
IoT
like,
star.
What do you mean? It's like I see you on that silly show, right?
From the silly
And
show,
you're that
literally.
goofy
silly show.
idiot that plays really bad guitar.
That's what's missing. That's what's missing right now. Is that we're not
Yeah, the
kicking it
guitar.
off with a guitar. I wish we had an electric guitar.
Yeah.
See.
That's a bummer. That
I
would be
can
helpful.
actually play. One
He's
of these
really
days,
good. He's really good.
I will play in front of all of you in a large stadium when IoT Coffee Talk reaches 1 gajillion
1
viewers.
million.
And help us get there. Because
Yeah,
we're,
exactly.
we'll
Is
have
anybody else coming up here to talk to us?
I don't know. Anyone wants
They
to
know.
talk here? Wants
Yeah,
to join?
come on.
Where's,
guys.
don't we have some people downstairs that are supposed to join us?
In fact,
I
yeah,
don't
no,
know.
I'll cede my chair.
Where's,
I will
Where's
Get up, and I'll walk away.
I don't want you to walk
One
away.
of you guys, come on up. I see you. Get on up here.
I know Gerhardt's supposed to be joining. Gerhardt's supposed to join
He was
us.
going to get dragged on.
We need to get someone to get our people down there wherever they are. I don't think they
Yeah,
made it
let's
up
go
here.
downstairs and just scream.
Leonard,
people
yeah, go get
downstairs.
those guys. Go get those special guests, Mr. Ignion, also. Because he wants to celebrate the funeral.
But probably he doesn't want to get recorded, right?
Oh, it might hurt business. It might hurt business. You actually don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. What could go wrong? Oh, there's a
I feel like
the number of
hello.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome.
Please sit down.
Have a seat.
This is the talking crap chair.
So to be honest,
Okay.
this is a relevant topic. Though.
Yes.
Like the number of people who ask
how
me
we
for
want
IoT
people.
Yeah.
is near zero.
Is it near zero?
It's near
Well, that's
zero.
thank God for that.
Yeah.
So are they just trying to solve a business problem?
Usually they're just trying to solve a business problem. It's
Oh.
crazy. They're
What
like,
the hell?
we've got
Is
this
this
big
like
money thing
or
that we're
something?
trying to
Yeah,
figure out.
Oh my God.
Happen that sometimes connected things might actually help.
So
It's funny.
they're actually
Crazy.
starting with a problem and working backwards to the technology that may or may not need some kind of connected intelligence, and if it does, then they call you and they go,
call
"Yo,
us and
Charlie,
go, can you help? Can you help solve this problem?"
right?"
And a lot of times we go no, but then we're like, yes, every now and then.
Every now and then,
So,
right?
one question. Sorry, what's the percentage of companies that you help directly to do the project, the digitalization, compared with the people that goes to the low code, no code that you have on those?
So the kind of people that we work with, a lot of our customers are like telcos, right? Like they're not software. They're not like software application software people, right? Like they're very, very good at doing their things.
Yeah.
But they're not sitting down and writing code all day on top of a cloud or their own infrastructure, right? Like so, we find a lot of success with those types of companies that are really trying to, again, solve some business problem or build a product, right? Like they've decided that they have a specific target market they're going after. They either have the in-house hardware asset, whatever, that they're going to sell along with it, and they want it to be connected, right? Like so, they're usually companies that aren't technical, but they're not software technical. So it's really, that's where we play and fit in.
Where you help.
What are you saying?
I don't know what should I say about IoT. To be honest, we are So
I heard you're the godfather of IoT, and you know more than anybody.
Okay,
you know the dude.
I'm rotating.
Oh, we're rotating.
Okay.
Bye, Charlie.
Bye.
So
Thank you.
I'm going out.
Oh,
Okay.
no worries. That's right.
Next.
Let's get Alistair. Well, gosh.
the doctor.
Yes.
Waiting room.
You're in the waiting room. We got the doctor.
The dentist.
All right. So we've got Mr. Laura and Mr. Antenna,
There we go.
which apparently those go together.
They're important, yeah.
It turns out they're important.
You actually need an antenna for things to work.
A lot of people
Yeah.
didn't know they needed antennas when they started
Well, the
building
fact that
these
they
devices.
weren't interested in antenna meant that they weren't building devices, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, because they thought it just worked. Because they're like, oh, I don't see an antenna on my phone. I used to. We used to pull it out, remember?
Yep.
Way back
Yeah.
when. Phones actually worked better back then, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did.
The
Yeah.
BlackBerry days, right?
The BlackBerry days, exactly. Or the Windows Mobile days. Love for Windows Mobile,
Love, yeah.
Windows Phone. We had some tiles. Really didn't do anything else but that. So, introduce yourself. Tell everybody about your company, what you do. We're going to give you some love here.
Yeah. No love, but no company shit, right? So let's
Just a little
stick.
bit. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
let's just stick to antenna. We do antennas. Okay?
You do
Fair
antennas?
enough. Yeah, but
Okay.
we're here to see the zoo.
You're here to the zoo.
internet, the internet.
Is this the zoo here?
Here it's
Barcelona?
okay, but yeah, it's absolutely Rob. It is absolutely a zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many 6G marketing banners have you seen today as you walked around Fira Gran Via?
At least
More than I
five.
have antennas, so.
If you got 6G, I've got your antenna.
Yeah. No, I gotta go. I was talking to Afzal, that you guys know,
Yeah,
well, right, from T-Mobile and his MWC.
He's coming tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, we'll see him.
I hope
We'll see
so,
him.
yeah.
And I told him, Afzal, you remember in the early '90s, I was deploying telematic systems
Yeah.
which used SMS,
Okay.
which was really hocus pocus those days.
It
right?
was,
How
yeah.
would you do that? So we hooked up to the KPN SMSC server 0001, which one way or the other tells me it was one of the first.
Yeah.
and then put it into a truck, into a logistics company, and we were so proud you could be on a keyboard, and then the message
Wow.
would end up on a dashboard.
That's amazing. It's like magic.
So the dispatcher sits there and says, "Wow, I'm going to do this," and he sees this truck driving away for I don't know, Hungary or whatever. And says, "John, come back. There's 2 more pallets."
Right.
And John comes back the next day. So the dispatcher goes like, "John, I texted you yesterday. Why do you come back now?" He says, "I just got this when I was halfway through Germany, so I turned back and got back here."
Ah.
So this reminds me of Afzal's struggle in NB-IoT roaming.
Oh, yeah.
But SMS made it, right?
Yeah.
SMS
It
was
does
good.
make it. Yeah,
So
that's
there's
true.
hope for NB-IoT.
Yeah.
There's hope.
It seems like he's championing NB-IoT single-handedly himself.
And in the meantime,
When I look at what his posts are on LinkedIn, it feels like, wow, this whole LoRaWAN world has all this love and everything and an ecosystem, and you can see the wall of devices. Where's that same thing for NB-IoT? I can't seem to find it anywhere. And he posted something like, oh, I think I've now counted up to 97 people using NB-IoT. And I'm just like, oh, it just makes me want to cry. But it's kind of the truth. Except in China. Apparently, they are all in.
Well, if you throw a lot of money
China
into
Mobile.
the government,
Yeah.
They use Huawei, right?
Yeah,
So
they're
it's
like,
a no-brainer, right?
They go, we're absolutely command and control telling you to use NB-IoT for
well, you could
meters.
buy modules for next to nothing
That's
because it
true.
was all subsidised.
That's true. So what's going on with you, Alistair?
Whoops.
All right, it's a party.
Yeah.
We've had a spill.
So I spent the last few years, as you know, running the LoRa business with Semtech, which was really fun. And then you and I spent a bunch of time at Hitachi building Lumada.
Yeah.
And then before that, you and I spent a bunch of time at Microsoft.
I know.
That's right, IoT.
It's a small world.
So I mostly
And dragging Steve Hagendorfer around with us from Microsoft to Hitachi.
someone's got to build a developer ecosystem.
Developers. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I'm mostly doing advisory stuff at the moment with a bunch of companies in the startup
That's what
area.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, that's
It's
good.
good fun.
That's
It's fun. It's a chance to see a lot more different businesses and to be able to see them and get involved with them kind of before all the stupid mistakes had been made.
Yeah.
Which inevitably in any larger company, there's a list of good choices and there's a list of bad choices.
Right.
Most of these companies they've got great technology. They've figured out how to do something really difficult.
Yeah.
And what they need to do is figure out how to get it to market and sell it and all those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
And you don't get away with calling it IoT and everyone just buying it anymore, which apparently they didn't do anyway. But
apparently they didn't do that anyway.
Apparently now people want to buy solutions, which I think they always did want to buy. It's just that they weren't being sold solutions, so they didn't buy them. I think.
It's funny, talking about our good friend Steve Hegenderfer, developers in teaching the world how to do your stuff. It brought me... All right, so I went to Distributech.
Yes.
Okay.
Saw you there.
Yeah, and I did go to the Hitachi booth, saw an old colleague, and he was all excited. He goes, "Oh, Rob, come here." And he went to some screen, and it had Lumada and the whole kind of... He goes, "Remember this?" I'm like, "Yeah, it looks the same." But what it reminded me of was one of the things... Well, it didn't... I don't know. I guess it never happened. Was... Steve created all this documentation and videos to go after the public developer market, just like we did with Azure IoT,
Hello, guys.
And I guess that never happened there. It was more of an internal, we'll just, kind of like how Predix was, we're just using it ourselves.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be part of the product.
Yeah,
Every product.
yes.
It's going to be part of that.
Hello, my name is Roberto.
Hello, Roberto. My name is Robert.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Who do you work for?
I am my own CEO, so my own boss, yeah.
Oh, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, since 2010.
Wow, are you involved in IoT?
Yeah, since then.
Oh, what kind of stuff do you do?
Mostly hardware development.
Yeah?
Yeah, but some clients I provide concrete solutions.
Hardware development is hard, isn't it?
Quite hard.
Yes.
Mostly the radio part.
The radio part. Do you use antennas?
Yeah, we are in talk, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hear they work.
Do you use LoRa?
Yeah, sure.
Look at this! We got a love fest up here. Hardware, LoRa, antennas, it's all coming together. And I guess we don't have to... So you're pretty opinionated on how we should be positioning ourselves now. Marketing wise, the narrative, do we need to stop saying one thing?
No, we saw the publications of Hatton, right? Who closes the door on IoT?
Yeah, that's true.
I think what was his name? James Blackman basically lost his whole scoop on enterprise IoT insights or whatever it was.
Oh, right. That's right.
That's
Enterprise
closed
IoT magazine. That's right. You're right. The whole publication shutting down.
Exactly. And he had a good story about why.
Yes.
Because at the end, that horizontal IoT stuff, I mean, what do you say to people? I work in the internet. They laugh at you, right?
That's true.
What do you mean?
I work in the internet.
No, but I work in the Internet of Things. And my mother still goes like, say, well, your smart meter. And then it rings.
Yeah.
So let's stop talking features.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's talk value. And then to consumers, what is value? I mean, you can live at home alone longer with a connected solution.
Yeah.
Whether we call it IoT or this thing around your neck, and it doesn't matter.
That's right. I've fallen and I can't get up. Help! Yes. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I think we thought there was this massive base of developers out there who really wanted to build their own thing from scratch.
Yeah.
And there's definitely those developers, but you see companies like Microsoft as well, actually, have I think, appreciated that from a development point of view, connected sensors is just another data pipeline into the platform.
It is.
And so rather than having it separate as this Azure IoT thing, it should just be part of the overall toolkit.
You're right.
But most companies don't want to employ developers and build their own solution. They want to buy a solution that has some embedded knowledge in it that's being used by the companies that they can benefit from. I think the horizontal notion of IoT, I don't know that customers ever really understood it anyway. I mean, I've always answered the question, what do you do, by saying smart metering, predictive maintenance, tracking stuff.
What is your best solution, Robert? Or the device that you are most proud of?
Right now, a medical device.
Medical device.
Oh, I am working with a startup in the USA. So we have an intelligent spirometer. So these kind of expendable spirometers, the doctors or the nurse, the skilled nurse or whoever control it, they are not capable of really checking if patients are doing the exercise and how well are they doing with the treatment, right? So they have like a little prototype without connectivity. I added the radio part for sure. And we are now doing clinical trials in the USA. So yeah, I'm pretty because I mean at the end is as you said, this is turning some IoT device into really something that works for someone. You know, in this case, it's patients. So it's pretty awesome. That's why I am in touch with them. Yeah.
That's great. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I mean, it's an important thing, building medical devices.
Yeah, I really love it. Yeah.
That's great. Wow.
There's a device from Philips that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Who I think that was still in the LoRa days. So they are able to send you home on average a couple of days earlier. I don't remember the number. Let's say 5 days earlier after surgery. If you take that device and it measures your status by heartbeat and breathing rhythm.
Okay.
And with that, with enough samples, they can predict. This guy. Yes, we send him home. And then the device is just there to measure.
Yeah.
And say, well, we send him home, but maybe we should get him back. But that's one out of 100,000.
Yeah.
So imagine the healthcare cost that you can drop.
Absolutely, that's huge.
Yeah.
I saw actually a talk earlier today. I forget the guy's name, but he's an author. Wrote a book called The Death of Death, and he was talking about 80% of all health expenditure is spent in the last 5 years of life.
Oh wow!
80%, and 20% is spent obviously on the remainder. And the medical technology connected devices, I mean things like insulin meters, spirometers, play a critical role in extending life. His view was that by 2040, I think we'll live forever. So if you make it to 2040, it's all good.
Oh, I'm so glad we'll be able to go get a drink when we're. I didn't realize we were still
17 years to go.
Anything where you can reduce that cost and keep people in their own homes, that's massive.
That is massive.
Thing.
That
Apart
whole
from the quality of
aging
life.
in place thing. When I was at, we were at CES, and there was AARP, which is, you'd only understand this in the U.S., but it's, for people over 50, I guess. And they had the biggest booth in all the steel, and it was age tech. We've heard of ag tech, but this was age tech. And there were tons of startups, and they were all focusing, because you're right, if you can keep someone at home and out of a hospital, it reduces medical expenses. People don't want to have to move into an old person home or whatever you want to call it. They'd rather stay at their, if you can help them with devices age in place, as they say.
But it's also system driven, I would say, because I moved to France.
Yeah.
In France, I cannot buy glasses without a prescription.
Oh.
And to get a prescription, you have to go to an eye doctor, and to get an appointment with an eye doctor, it takes 6 to 12 months.
Wow.
So how do you protect the system? Then I buy the glasses. They're $500.
Wow.
Which is important, but they are cylindric and all the complex glasses. I go to the Netherlands, I can buy 2 pairs of the same glasses for $100. So there is something wrong in that whole system, and if we can, and what brought me to that is at CES in the IoT domain, I found a little. It looked like an iPad, an iPhone, and then some stuff that you could put on your body. When you go to a physiotherapist and you feel these little.
Oh yeah, the sticks.
It's healing. It's stitches, right? It's electrical waves. And so I bought one for a couple $100 for my wife, and now she doesn't need to go to the physiotherapist anymore. She can just heal herself. This is not IoT, so I don't know what these guys were about. It's consumer electronics.
That's cool.
But so, yes, I truly believe in healthcare, even if it's not the last so many years. Savings we can do.
I mean, and one of the few things that, living in the US, it still shocks me just how screwed up the whole medical system is in the US, the role of insurers, etc. But I guess the one unintended consequence of that is you have a lot of insurance companies who want to fund startups in the medical device space because it means they can keep more of the money that we pay them for insurance. They can pocket it and buy their shares with it. But there's a base of companies funding this sort of activity, which I think is tougher to find in Europe because it's government and there's less of a commercial aspect to it. I think the other flip side of that is the commercial aspect of healthcare in the US is damaging in a number of different ways.
But absolutely.
There's money. There's money.
That's what it's all about in America.
Money.
It's about money.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
But you asked about IoT and why, right?
Yeah.
So we discussed a little bit the horizontal stuff. Now here's another thing that I see. So I think if we ask Roberto, he has a difficulty to keep up with all the new things that are being developed on hardware or software. Doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah.
So it's you are there sitting with you and your company and all your engineers and everybody does new inventions and then you build a device for long tail, kind of long-term installation. I remember the Orange LoRa deal had to last for 20 years. So you cannot just switch off LoRa or whatever it's built on because you have a 20-year obligation.
Right.
And what happens? What we just said. I walk in. It's not 6G that worries me. It's freaking RedCap. So you have NB-IoT, which is the technology which I believe in. With the SMS analogy, we'll get there. But before we even get to leverage anything out of it, and whether it's good or not, there's a next level.
Yeah.
So as a developer, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
People are always chasing the new shiny thing.
Sorry?
Capitalism.
Oh,
there it is. There's that
money.
word.
But I
Money.
think people have had that trick played on them so many times in wireless that now what developers do is they just ignore it and they stick with 4G and maybe
stick
start
with what they
thinking
had.
about 5G.
Yeah.
Whereas a few years ago, it was always the, oh shit, if you're not actually investing your time in learning about this next layer, then you're going to be obsolete. People have now realised that they're not going to be obsolete in 2 or 3 years. It might be 5 or 6 years or maybe even longer. So they've got time. And the market is in the technology that they're working on today.
So the message is stick with LTE. Is that what the message is?
No.
Also, just because the show is about stirring the pot, your Uncle Rob here has some more controversial things to say out loud to the rest of the world. 6G is never going to happen. Even though we saw lots of 6G at MWC today, it'll never happen. Let me tell you why. It has to do with money, also known as dinero here in España.
Dinero, yeah, that's right.
Yes. There are lots of parts of the world that are still on 3G. They're starting to sunsetting them, right? And then everybody else is on LTE, and then there's a subset that's going to 5G, and they talk about it a lot. Have you ever looked at the books or the finances of some of these mobile operators that have rolled out 5G? Have you noticed that they're all over $100 billion in debt? They're all leveraged to the hilt. And you know why? Because you have to pay tens of billions of dollars to your government to buy the needed spectrum allocated to put in the new 5G stuff. Now, some people are going to sunset their 3G and try to refarm that spectrum for 5G, but there's a whole lot of folks who have not gone to 5G, and it's not because they don't want to do it. It's just because they don't have the cash laying around to do it, to buy the spectrum from the government. I spent most of my time the last several years at Ericsson, and I remember our CEO was like, he was just always kicking Europe in the butt because he was like, you guys are not on board with this thing. He was like, come on, all the governments in Europe would not spend the money to do it. And I just saw something in the news, part of, everybody's doing layoffs these days. He's like, Europe's killing us. Europe is not migrating to 5G. They just aren't. The countries aren't. They're not spending money, and therefore, no one needs to buy our Ericsson gear, which is therefore having an immaterial impact on their economics, right? And so they're doing
What do you think
layoffs.
about private deployment?
Private's interesting. If you can grab the spectrum,
If you can rent it from
You can grab the spectrum.
If you can grab the spectrum, like the CBRS and then those are equivalents in different countries, that is interesting. And we saw a lot of, I'd see manufacturing companies kicking the tires on private 5G.
I am doing a prototype of 5G for private networks.
Yeah.
The main problem in Spain is, you can work in sub 6 gigahertz.
Yeah.
But you can go to millimetric wave because then you need to pay. So it's like, we can test 5G, but not the full 5G. So that's we will see in the near future. Yeah.
And when you say full 5G, do you mean millimeter wave?
Yeah.
See, that's what everybody thinks. They think if you're not doing millimeter wave, then you're not doing 5G, right? A particular mobile operator that I won't name in the United States decided we're going to go to every NFL stadium. This was prior to COVID. And we're going to equip all the NFL football stadiums with millimeter wave and they were going to roll out 5G and they were going to just kill everybody. And then COVID came along and there was no football. And they're like, but then T-Mobile acquired Sprint and they got this mid-band Goldilocks zone stuff and it turns out that's pretty good too. The 6G people are saying, well, we need terahertz frequency. I got news for you. No one's rolling out millimeter wave that only goes this far. What do you think terahertz is? Is it like NFC? I'm gonna tap my phone. Oh, wow, I've got 100 billion gigabits of speed as long as I'm right next to the microphone here. So 6G, it's not going to happen mostly because of economics. Not enough people can afford to do 5G already.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're going to be able to do 6G? Even if the equipment works.
Equipment vendors aren't selling gateways for a 50th of the price of a 4G, a 3 or 4G, which it needs to be.
Right.
For the
And
density.
do you remember how all the mobile operators thought that IoT was going to save their bacon because, oh no, we've got saturation with smartphones. There's not, and we need
These
something
machines,
new.
They're going to use spectrum that we don't use outside of ours. It's going to be nighttime.
Wow, it's amazing. And we'll have trillions of devices with SIM cards. Exactly. And we're going to charge them using iPhone data plans. Yeah, that didn't work out.
About this licensing in Germany that's going on now.
What's
Talking about
that?
Spectrum.
Yeah?
So if you are a German company, you can buy a square mile of licensed spectrum.
Okay.
So this is, to me, was the idea about looking at the soccer match where you see different digital ads around the fields, depending on from which country you're looking. Right? You sell the same space twice.
Oh,
so how about I can sell to Daimler Chrysler around their sites just a few miles of coverage,
right?
And then I can allow them only to do automotive. So I can also horizontally say no, you can't do anything else, but just because the other application, and now we're slicing the spectrum rather than slicing whatever the operators wanted to slice in the first place.
Sounds like network slicing, but not.
Yeah, but now the spectrum.
But spectrum slicing. This is exciting. Are we ready to launch our event? There's thousands of people downstairs waiting for us.
Amazing. Yeah.
They're down there chanting, just like when you're at a rock concert and the band hasn't walked on stage yet and it's all dark, they're like, come on, they're waiting for Kiss to come out, or somebody.
We got here.
Well, I saw that AI generated image of you looking like Dave Grohl, so you just go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, thanks so much for joining us on this amazing IoT Coffee Talk 3rd year celebration anniversary for this. And let's go do our show. Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you. You're beautiful.
Bye-bye.